If I only had one word to describe the Phantasm series, it would be this: weird. Everything about this series is weird. Random stuff happens that contradicts what came before, and you never know if what you're seeing is actually real or is even supposed to be real. It is a series of enigmas. I have seen every film in the franchise, and I own the first 3 on VHS, and I still can't tell you for the life of me what the series is even about. Is it about the enigmatic tall man? Those weird hooded things that look like rip-offs of the Star Wars Jawas? The flying spheres that are just balls with blades on them, which are the most iconic thing about the series itself? Or is it about a troubled child's adventures? It's about all these things and none of them. The tall man to me is one of the most underrated horror icons. He is the atypical scary guy that a lot of us knew in childhood, that was in authority and was just creepy in a way we couldn't put our fingers on. Usually a neighbor or a teacher or something like that. You always expected him to be taken away in a police car because someone found out what was causing the smell in his basement. The series is about a kid named Mike, but for my money, the best character is Reggie, the butt-kicking, bald, ponytailed action man who has a cool double shotgun and tries to bang any chick he happens to see at the time. Yes, he is kind of an Ash ripoff, but an Ash ripoff is still pretty cool. Honestly, this is the only franchise that I don't have a definitive opinion on which film is the best. I know which one is my favorite, but I seriously can't tell you which one is the objective best film. The original has the best imagery and atmosphere, but number 2 is much more action-packed. My favorite scenes in the whole series are in the last half of the film, and this is my personal favorite. And the gore and effects are significantly better. No fake-looking bugs this time. You're probably saying, well, you just said the action is better and this is your favorite. Why can't you say number 2 is the best? Well, that's because watching the whole middle part of the film is the equivalent of watching grass grow. The beginning of the film is good. The last third is A+ quality material. And the entire middle is so tedious and boring, it's like being in a coma. Sure, the original had boring parts as well, but you never really felt like fast-forwarding. And the middle half of 2 is just a slog to sit through. In fact, you go into the third act thinking it sucks, and at the end it ends up being so good you even start thinking it's the best in the series. Like I said, weird. Number 3 gets a lot of hate, but I have no idea why. To me, it's the only film that is consistently entertaining from beginning to end. It's not as good as the first 2, because it doesn't have those films' highs, but it's also never boring like those films can be at times. I love the zombie action, and I dig the new characters. The booby-trapping kid who could hold his own with Kevin McAllister, and the tomboy black chick, Rocky, who Reggie keeps trying to bone, but she's simply too much for him to handle. I wish those characters would have continued instead of basically being one and done here. 4 goes into detail about the origins of the tall man, and it's surprisingly dull. But it's a classic compared to the 5th and final film, Phantasm Ravager. Yes, 4 was boring, but it was never offensive. 5 even suggests that the whole series was possibly just a senile Reggie's delusions. It turns out not to be the case, but man, is that rude to even consider. This is the only film not made by series guru Don Coscarelli, and it shows. The plot is inconsistent and lifeless. It's a terrible way to end a fine franchise. And since Angus Scrimm, aka the Tall Man, has died on us, it's probably going to be the last film unless there's a remake. Judging how the last 2 sucked, it's probably a good thing the series is over. But with all that said, the thing that's the absolute best aspect of the series is its music. The score, heavily influenced by the Halloween score and the Goblin scores of Italy, are some of the catchiest music you'll ever hear in your life. You can't get it out of your head, and frankly, you won't want to. Trust me on this.